All right, we're getting started. I apologize for being late. If anybody is in the YouTube, maybe you'll see it's time to join us, and maybe you won't, but I'm going to share my screen. And okay, there we go. We're just going to jump in and get one question, Stacy. One question. You missed it by one, but that is okay. You you studied, you did what you needed to do, and we now know, is there something you need to go over to make it, you know, to make sure that you get what you need? Let me know what topics we need to review and we'll go over those. So there's that property ownership. Ah, that's what we did on Sunday. Well, we did transfer of title. So why don't we on this Sunday, let me make a note, do property ownership. And do me a favor and let me know what in property ownership. Like there's different breakdowns, or is it just all of property ownership? Like there's estates, there's co-ownership, there's all those types of things. So I'll kind of make a plan to do that and we'll do it. That's for Sunday. And that's going to be like the 20, was that the 27th or whatever it is? 6/27. All right, let's get to it. And again, welcome to anybody who's going to join me in YouTube. We are continuing on these new set of questions. Again, on Sunday, I did transfer of title. I need to tighten that up. It's just like I said, working on another video. But let's go for it. Number 19. For a valid joint tenancy, speaking of property ownership, Miss Stacy, for a valid joint tenancy with the right of survivorship to be created, the owners must generally satisfy the four unities. Which of the following correctly describes these requirements? Is it A, the owners must be related to one another by blood or marriage? B, the owner must contribute an identical amount of cash towards the purchase price? C, equal interest acquired at the same time through the same document with equal rights of possession. Or D, each owner must record a separate deed evidencing their individual share. Well, we look at this and we go, all right, which one is the one we need? So we know, or the ones that we can eliminate. We know it's not A, because by blood or marriage, no. We do want the right of survivorship, but if you're, you don't need the right of survivorship per se if you've got blood or marriage. I mean, it's just above and beyond. That's not our answer. B, each owner must contribute an identical amount of cash towards the purchase price. We do have the word identical, and we do know that there are things with joint tenancy that have to be, equal across the board. But we know that to be PITT, or tip if you do it the other way, possession, interest, title, and time. And when we look at that, that's what C says. Equal interest, there's the I, acquired at the same time on the same document with equal rights of possession. So that's possession, interest, title. This document is our title document, PITT. C is our answer. We know it's not B. And each owner must record a separate deed. Well, no, that goes against this whole the same document. Our answer is C. Good job. All right, next. And of course, Stacy, ask me whatever you want in order to make sure if you have any questions or if I need to stop and review something for you, let me know. 20. A survey reveals that a neighbor's fence extends 2 feet into an adjoining owner's lot. This situation is best described as A, a deed restriction, B, an encroachment, C, an easement by prescription, or D, a license. And I see you got that right off the top there, ma'am. Let's change this color. Our answer is B, an encroachment. An encroachment, that is the definition of an encroachment. So that was a nice, simple one. Oh, we got that one. 21. Which of the following is a required characteristic of a valid meets and bounds legal description? So this is going into what we talked about on Sunday. Which of the following is a required characteristic of a valid meets and bounds legal description? A, it must cross-reference a lot and block number from a recorded plat. Hello, Miss Caroline. B, it must be expressed entirely in compass bearings without any distances. C, it must begin and end at the same point of beginning, forming a closed traverse. Not heard the word traverse used that way before, but okay. Or D, it must reference a township and range coordinate from the rectangular survey system. Well, we can eliminate some of these, right? The rectangular survey system is its own type of legal description. It's not D. It must cross-reference lot and block numbers. Nope, that's lot and block. That's a recorded document. It's not that. Now we've got B and C that are giving us two different answers here. It must be expressed entirely in compass bearings without distance, or it must begin and end at the same point of beginning. And you know, if you've done any studying on this, our answer is C. It must begin and end at the same point of beginning, forming a closed traverse. Traverse? I mean, I know there's Traverse City. I've traversed through something, but I've never seen the word traverse there, but I know the other ones are wrong, so we're going to go with that one. All right, 22. Grab some water. No, I have a little bit of water. The lot and block, the recorded plat map method of legal description is commonly used to describe. So lot and block is usually used to describe what? Individual parcels within a recorded subdivision. B, large irregular tracts of unsubdivided rural acreage. Well, we know it's not that. For that, we would use meets and bounds. C, federal land surveyed under the rectangular survey system. No, that again, we got the rectangular survey system. We don't need that. D, riparian parcels bordering navigable rivers. I mean, a riparian parcel, yes, does border a river, but has nothing to do with a legal description, so we know it's not D. Our answer is A. There we go. Caroline, you said you found a broker and got fingerprinted, so it's in the process, so you thought you'd join us. Yay, Caroline! Oh, you know you can join us all the time. And I'm serious about emailing me once you get settled or before you go in. Let's set up a time so we can talk about your first steps because it's like building a building and it's got to have a strong foundation for you all to be, solid. So we can even talk about it towards the end of today if you want. We can stay on, or if you want to do a private session with me, whatever you want. You decide. I'm just proud of you. Okay.
Okay, I'll think, probably a private session with you.
Okay. Anytime. We'll set up a
Okay.
time.
All
Yay.
right, thank you.
23. A permanent marker of known location and elevation that surveyors used as a fixed reference point for measuring elevations on a site is called, is it A, a datum, B, a monument, C, a principal meridian, or D, a benchmark? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one. I think I know the answer to this one, but let's see. Do we know the answer to this one? Let's see. I could eliminate C, right? I can eliminate C. It's not principal meridian. Great. Is it a monument or a benchmark? For measuring elevations on a site. So if we're doing elevations on a site, then it's not going to be a monument because that would have to do more with the meets and bounds. You know, that's how they mark a point on the meets and bounds. So I know it's not B. The question is, do I know what a datum or datum is versus a benchmark? Now, I've heard of benchmarks before, and I know that surveyors can use it for elevations, I think, but datum. Hmm. Hello, Miss Georgia. We're just trying to figure this out, I think. I'm gonna go with benchmark because I'm pretty sure that's what I've heard before, but I don't exactly know what a datum or datum is. So let me check. Let me check my answer key. It is hard, and that's okay. It's hard, but we'll learn something from it. So we're going with benchmark. Survey says, hey, we got it right. We got it right. Hey, we got it right. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance. Okay, that's great, and I'm dancing and all, but now we've learned something. Obviously, this is the definition, but I do have enough definition for a datum in my answer key. It says a datum is oh, the reference plane or surface, often sea level. So sea level is the datum, I guess, from which elevations are measured. So you would say that sea level is your datum. It's your start. We're measuring from sea level, kind of like where the principal meridian and the baseline meet. I guess that would be the datum or the starting point, and then you're referencing that point versus the benchmark would be the actual physical thing. That's what I think we're going with here. A physical marker with an established elevation used itself. At that sea level, you would have a benchmark that you would measure. Okay, I've learned something. You've learned something. Gosh, gah. Actually, you know what I've learned? Hey, Alexa, will you set an alarm for 6:50 p.m. every Wednesday?
All right, I've set a recurring alarm for 6:50 p.m. every Wednesday.
Thank you. I'm done. Yeah, as y'all know, I was late today. So now we've got that certain person who's going to remind me because I was just working on my video and I didn't realize what time it is. Okay. A standard section of land under the government rectangular survey system contains 640 acres. Check. We know that. How many acres are contained in a parcel legally described as the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter of that section? Well, you know, guys, I like to go backwards. We know there are, pull this down a little bit, 640 acres. And if we were to just stop here, the southwest quarter of that, we could take the 640 and divide it by 4 because we're quartering it. And 640 divided by 4 is, what's that, 160? I'm like almost positive, but who knows where my brain is. It's a double and triple check. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that 640 divided by 4 equals, yep, 160. So there'd be 160 acres if we just took a quarter of that original section. But we have to quarter it again. So we're going to take 160 acres and divide it by 4 again, and that gives me 40 acres. That's a C. So our answer is D, 40 acres. Boom. All right, 25. Ooh, more math. A triangular building lot. Don't know if it's to scale yet, but that's okay. Has a base of 120 feet along the street. Okay. And a depth or height, how far back it goes, of 90 feet to the rear property line. All right, so a rectangular building lot has a base of 120 feet and a depth. We want to know what's the area in the lot in square feet. So we know to find the area of a triangle with a right angle in it is going to be 1/2 the base times the height. So let's do that. We have 1/2 times the base, 120 feet, times the height, 90 feet. Now, I'm going to take this 1/2 and just put it into 0.5. So I'm going to do 0.5 times 120 feet times 90 feet, and that's going to give me 0.5 times 120 times 90 is 5,400 feet. Square feet, and that is our answer D. Let me triple check I mathed correctly today. Let's see. Hey, I got it right. I got it right. Hey, I got it right. Boo, boo, boo. Now, I see there, Stacy. Oh, you're bad at the math. That's okay, Stacy. Hey, do you have math on your test? But tell me where I lost you. And if I did lose you, did it make sense now? Does it make sense now? Because it looks like you had half of that. You forgot to take the half. Because if we didn't do the half, that would be 10,800. Good. I'm glad it makes sense. And that's why we do this practice, so that you don't get it wrong on the test. You get it wrong here, so you don't get it wrong again. Okay, number 26. A parcel has no legal access to a public road except through a neighboring lot, and both lots were once part of the same larger tract before dividing. So I guess you have the street, and then on this street, you had a big parcel of land, and then they subdivided. You got lot A, and you got lot B. Okay, so this parcel, lot B, has no legal access to a public road except across the neighboring lot, lot A, and both lots were once part of the same larger tract before subdividing. What type of easement is most likely implied by law to act to provide access? Easement by prescription, an easement by necessity, blah, 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 a license, or an easement in gross. Well, again, most of these, we'll talk about the first two. A and B talk about how and why an easement is formed. C is just not the right answer. An easement, a license, is similar to an easement. You have the right to do something on land, but this is not forever. And it's not an encumbrance. If that owner were to sell the house or that lot, whatever, that licenses don't transfer through transfers. So no. And an easement in gross talks about what it is. You know, we have appurtenant easements and we have an easements in gross. And an easement in gross can either be commercial or it could be personal. And that's not what we're talking about here either. So is it an easement by prescription or an easement by necessity? Well, we know the easement by prescription is kind of like adverse possession, but for easements. If you can prove that you used it long enough, you will be granted an official easement by the court. And that's not what the situation is here. An easement by necessity means, hey, it is necessary for you to have this easement in order to use your land. So yes, our answer most definitely is B, easement by necessity. There we go. We like it. Okay. 27. Hello, Rosalinda. A utility company has the right to run power lines across several private properties. Because this right benefits the company itself, rather than a parcel of land the company owns, it is best classified as, well, we know it's not an appurtenant easement because we know 2Ps means there's two properties, the dominant tenement and the servient tenement. And it says it's benefiting the company, so it can't be that. A deed restriction would be something that was in a deed. A license would be, again, not forever. So, yes, our answer is D, an easement in gross. Why? Because I set it up here. We got two types of easements in gross: commercial, like utilities, or personal. It's for a person. So, there you go. 27 is going to be an easement in gross. 28. A judgment lien recorded against a debtor in a particular county will generally attach to. So it's a judgment lien. You know, we have two types of liens. We have general liens and specific liens. Specific liens attached to a person. General liens specific liens attached to a property, and general liens attached to a person. I haven't even looked at our answers yet. And then you do have specific, which is to a piece of land. So, will it attach to all real property owned by the debtor within that county? Okay, all right, let's see. B, only the debtor's personal property, not real property. Well, no, I know that's not it. Only property the debtor acquires after the judgment is satisfied? Well, no, no. Because anything that you even owned before, we could force the sale. So I know it's not C. Only the specific property involved in the lawsuit. Well, no, that would make it a specific lien. So it's got to be A, all real property owned by the debtor within that county. Yep. And that's what we know. And it's going to cover what you owned previously, and it's going to cover future ownership. Boop. All right. 29. A contractor performs unpaid renovation work and later files a mechanics lien against the property. In many jurisdictions, the priority of this lien relative to the other liens is determined by what? So a contractor performs unpaid renovation work and later files a mechanics lien. The priority of this lien, is it going to be the first thing paid, the second thing paid? Like, what's going on? So is it A, the date the construction or improvement work actually began on the property? B, the date the construction contract was signed by the owner? C, the date the mechanics lien document was recorded with the county? Or D, the final invoice for the work issued? Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Now, this is one of these things where if you know it, you know it. If you don't, you probably don't. And for that reason, I can tell you now, our answer is A. So really what we're doing here is saying you started work on this date. So if there has to be a lien, we're getting paid from the day that you started any work, not from the day you recorded it, because you have to wait and make sure you don't get paid. And then there could be other liens. So that's just a general concept there. And I see y'all getting these answers right in the chat. I see you. Okay. 30. And again, for anybody, if you need me to break down stuff more, just holler. Among competing liens recorded against the same property, which of the following generally has the highest priority regarding its recording date? Regardless, of its recorded date. So, is it A, a real property tax lien? B, a mechanics lien? C, a first mortgage lien? Or D, or D, a judgment lien? What are we thinking? Okay, I see y'all three. All y'all coming up with the A. The A is for apple. I like to eat apples and apricots. Yes, our answer is A. Again, one of those concepts that you know you're probably going to be tested on. You got to know it. You got to know that one. All right, 31. A mortgage is best classified as which type of lien? A mortgage is best classified as which type of lien? An involuntary specific lien, a voluntary specific lien, excuse me, an involuntary general lien, or D, a voluntary general lien? Well, first, let's go through this voluntary or involuntary part. Nobody's forcing you to buy a house and get a mortgage. So you know this whole involuntary thing, and I'm kind of sick of green. And it needs to be thicker. Boop, 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 boop. It is not A or C. Just from that alone, because we know mortgages are voluntary. You signed up for the mortgage. The question is it specific or is it general? And we just talked about how specific liens were against a specific property. So it's going to be B. If you have multiple houses and you don't pay one mortgage, they can only take your house relating to that one mortgage, that house that's related to that one mortgage. They can't take some of your other properties to cover that. It's a voluntary specific lien. Good job, ladies. Uh-huh. All right. And Miss Georgia, does that make sense why it's not a general lien? It's not a general lien because remember, general liens attach to the person and specific lien is to one piece of property. Want to remember that. It's okay, Georgia. That's why you're here. You're here to learn. No, you're good. You're good. And if you need me to go into more or you need some visuals to talk about it, just let me know. I can always take a little side step. Yes, it makes sense. I think that's what you're saying. If you need me to, because I know there's a little bit of delay, if you need me to go into it more, just say yes, go into more on liens. All right, 32. A subdivision's recorded declaration prohibits all homeowners from parking commercial vehicles in driveways overnight. It's actually really common. That statement is basically saying there are some HOA rules that say if you have a commercial vehicle, you know, the HVAC van, you have a food truck, you can't park that in your driveway overnight. Okay, yes, it makes sense. Cool, good. This type of private land use control is best described as A, a zoning ordinance. No, because those come from the city or the county. B, a restrictive covenant. Okay, I like that. C, an easement in gross. Well, no, this isn't the right to use or cross somebody's land. And D, a variance. You would have to go to the government. The government is involved in both of those. So our answer has to be B, a restrictive covenant or deed restriction. All right. 33. A recorded document giving constructive notice that a lawsuit is pending. That word should be hollering at you. Holla. Pending, which may affect title to a specific property is called A, a estoppel certificate, B, a release of lien, C, a quitclaim deed, or D, a lis pendens. Yeah, you all got that one. D. D, of course, the lis pendens. That pending, lis pendens. You all see the connection there. Boom. Notice of pending litigation. 34. And I'm assuming, unless somebody needs me to go over it, we do know what a quitclaim deed is, a release of lien, and an estoppel certificate is. If you don't, just holler, let me know if I need to explain that. 34. A homeowner gives a neighbor oral permission to walk across the yard to reach a mailbox, with the understanding that this permission can be withdrawn at any time. This arrangement is best classified as, is it A, a profit apprende? I never know how to say that word. B, an easement by prescription. C, an easement appurtenant or appurtenant. Still a stupid word if you say appurtenant, in my opinion. Or D, a license. Well, what sticks out to me in this question is the fact that it says it can be withdrawn at any time. Just like if you're speeding too far, if you're doing 120 and a 70, you know they can just snatch your license just off the fact that you're going so far, based off the fact that you're going so fast. So we know this has to be D, a license. An easement appurtenant, once it's granted, the owner can't be like, oh, I just changed my mind. No, that's not how that works. And that doesn't work for an easement by prescription either. Remember, easement by prescription is how and why it was formed. And then C, our appurtenant easement, is the type of easement. And then the profit apprende, it's the right to use profits, I think. Yeah, from the property. There you go. So it's D. D. 35. Oh, it split it up. A landowner grants a neighbor the right to enter the property and remove timber for a commercial sale. This right is best classified as, well, we know it's not a license, we just talked about that. A leasehold estate means you can live there as long as the lease is there. And appurtenant easement is the right to cross. And I just said, I thought a profit apprender was the right to use something. So there you go. It is D. I love how this question answered what I said up above. We now know what a profit or a profit apprender, however you say that word, is. We got that question answered. Boom. All right. 36. In the government rectangular survey system, the location of a township is identified by its position relative to. So remember, I kind of talked about this earlier. I was like, oh, well, in fact, let's scroll back to it. Got to scroll a little bit. Oh, we've had a lot of questions. Remember this question 23? We talked about datums and benchmarks. And I said benchmarks were the physical thing that marks a point of reference. And then the datum is talking about the level. So if you're talking about the planes, like sea level and whatnot. So we just talked about it. Now we can use what we talked about here to look and see what our answer is. Keep on scrolling. Keep on scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So, in the government rectangular survey system, the location of a township is identified by its position relative to, well, we know it's not benchmark and datum because that had to do not with the rectangular survey system, but with surveys, like when we talk about somebody going out and doing the meets and bounds. We know it's not a lot and block number because that has to do with a plat. A point of beginning and meets and bounds lines, well, that has to do with meets and bounds. So just even if we weren't sure, even if you weren't 100% sure of this answer, we could say, oh, it's got to be B, principal, meridian, and baseline, because that's how it works. Every piece of land is like, how far is it from where those 2 points meet? You said, Caroline, you've seen some questions on the exam just written a little different. Yeah. I mean, and I know it feels like a lot of material, but at the end of the day, guys, a lot of this is going to just be recycled over and over and over again. And so, because Caroline, you worked so many questions with us, you've seen some of this stuff. You know you have, and that's how you passed. Yay. All right. Moving on to 37. An easement appurtenant will terminate under the doctrine of merger when what? An easement appurtenant will terminate under the doctrine of merger when. So big fancy words. You got an easement appurtenant. So that's when we've got, this is the street. You had lot A and you had lot B, and lot B is crossing over lot A. So the doctrine of merger says, hey, if B buys A, you're merging these two pieces of land together. Now there's no, it's just going to be one. It's just one big piece of land. You don't need to cross, you don't need an easement to cross yourself. So let's see if one of those matches our answer choice. An easement appurtenant will terminate under the doctrine of merger when the easement has gone on unused for a period of 1 year. No, that's not true. That's the great part about having a recorded easement. Once it's recorded, it doesn't matter if you use it or not. It's yours. B, the owner of the dominant estate acquires title to the servient estate or vice versa, uniting both parcels under common ownership. Yeah, that's what I said right here. One parcel buys the other parcel. They merge together. I like B, but let's eliminate C and D. The servient estate builds a fence along the property line. That's be saying A can build a fence along the property line, but no, that's why B is the dominant tenement. Their use, their right to use that land in A, it's always going to, I say always, it's mostly going to supersede anything that A wants to do. A wants to put up a fence? No, because B needs to cross the land. You can't do that. Now, B can't use it adversely. B can't be like, hey, I got an easement here. Let me grow some marijuana in this easement in a state where it's not legal. No, that's going to get you going to jail. And as you all know, I like to say nobody looks good in federal prison orange unless you are, say it with me, Jason Momoa. There. I cannot wait to see this new movie he is in. Very excited. The new Supergirl movie. He's in it. Very excited. Wasn't excited about the new Superman, but Supergirl, they got me there. All they had to do was say Jason Momoa. I was like, take my money. But I digress on that little side quest. So we liked B. C, we knew it's not that either because this whole fence thing, we don't like that. Or D, the dominant estate is sold to a new buyer. Well, remember, the dominant estate is B. And it's an easement. If it's been recorded, then the new owner, let's say the new owner is actually L, right? If L buys this property, he's going to have to take it subject to that new easement. L doesn't get to come in as the new owner and be like, hey, what's up? Get off. That's not how any of this works. So yeah, our answer most definitely, I'm sick of yellow. Let's try blue. Is B. Boom shakalaka. Making sure it makes sense. But if you have questions, always ask. All right. 38. Using a standard 640-acre section under the government rectangular survey system, how many acres are contained in a parcel legally described as the southern half of the northwest quarter of the section? All right, we just did this. So we know there are 640 acres. Now, side note, my guess is on the real test, they probably would just say in a standard section, and they would tell you, you were supposed to know that it was 640. That's probably how I would guess they're going to ask this if they ask it on the test. They're probably not going to tell you 640. They're going to want you to know it, but okay. So we started with 640 acres, and then we're finding the northwest quarter. That means, once again, we quarter it. Hold on, guys. It's my mom coming, and she's supposed to not be home. Let me make sure everything's okay. Hey, Mom, I thought you were at church. Everything good?
I'm listening to it online. I was trying to
Well,
avoid going
do-
on much of
I'm in a meeting, but I know you're supposed to be at church. So do you want me to end the meeting so we can talk or call you back after?
You at home?
I'm at home.
Need you to some spicy baked potatoes. You was crisp.
All right. Well, I will come pick that up after I finish this because people can hear you. Yep. Okay. I will call you first. Okay. Bye. That was weird. She can't, something must be wrong with her car. So I guess I got to go fix that. Telling y'all, parenting your parents, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I do all of this and try to parent my parents. So back to this. We got 640 acres. We got the first quarter. So we take 640, we divide by 4. That gave us 160. Then we have the southern half of that. So we're taking this 160 and dividing it by 2. That is 160 divided by 2, and that's going to give me 80 acres. Boom, that's our answer. D. I see you, Stacy, getting that right. I see you, Stacy. Okay. All right. That's weird. Wonder why the numbers are off. That is so weird. All right, 39. A neighbor has openly, continuously, and without permission driven across a corner of an adjoining lot for longer than the statutory period required in that jurisdiction. The neighbor most likely has acquired, is it A, a revocable license, B, title to the land by adverse possession, C, an easement by prescription, or D, an easement by necessity? Well, we know it's not a revocable license. Ixnay on that one. Adverse possession means you're getting title to the land, and no, they're just using it, so it's not B. They don't get ownership. C, an easement by prescription. Remember, I said easement by prescription and adverse possession means you follow a certain amount of rules. That is, some rules. You used it for not long enough time. You didn't have permission, blah, 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 blah. And an easement by necessity means, remember we talked about this earlier, you needed it. You had to have it. So it's not D, making our answer C. Hey, you know what? I think that might be the first time you all got to hear my mom via the phone. So I would tell her you all said hi. 40. I wonder how the spacing got off. That should be a new page, but oh well. The reference surface from which elevations are measured for surveying purposes, often based on mean sea level, is called a... we are ready for this. We are ready for 40. You all put your answer in the chat. What is it? So go ahead and put in the chat for me 40, and then what is it? We're talking about the reference surface, the reference plane, right? We talked about it being the plane. Well, we know it's not going to be a meridian because that's talking about our principal meridians, right? And then we had monuments that had to do with meets. That's not how you spell meets. Boop, boop, boop. Meets and bounds, right? This gives us back to benchmarks and datum. And we said earlier the benchmark was the physical thing, the physical marker. And the datum was the plane or like surface level, like sea level. We talked about it, giving us an easy answer of D. Boom. We're learning. I love it when a plan comes together. 41. Which type of deed provides the grantee the broadest protection, warranting against title defects arising both during the grantor's period of ownership and during all prior periods of ownership? Which deed is the strongest deed? Is it the bargain and sale deed, the special warranty deed, the general warranty deed, or the quitclaim deed? Now, I know y'all know this one. This is one of the first things everybody learns. It's that general warranty deed that is our strongest deed because it basically says, look, buyer, this is as if I'm the seller talking, I don't care who messed it up. It could have happened 90 years ago. If somebody comes and says, hey, this isn't actually your piece of land, I will come in and I will help you fix it, get things right here. Doesn't matter how long ago it was. It doesn't matter who the owner is. Since I'm giving you this property now, I'm going to give you this guarantee, this warranty, this promise about title. Boom. Okay, 42. A deed in which the grantor warrants title only against defects or encumbrances arising during the grantor's own period of ownership with no warranty for the time before that is, well, we know what it's not. It ain't a general warranty. We already used that one. Is it A, a special warranty, B, a quitclaim deed, or D, deed of trust? Well, deeds of trust have to do with mortgages, right? We know it's not that. Is it the special warranty deed or is it the quitclaim deed? And I see y'all in my chat telling me it's A. Hey, it's A, it's A, it's A. Yes, it is A. Whoop, whoop. And I think we know where this is going for 43, don't we? I guess I did not tell Claude to mix these topics up and just kind of put them in order, but that's okay. 43. A grantor is uncertain whether they hold any interest in a parcel of land, but wants to release any potential claim they might have to a buyer. The most appropriate instrument is, well, we know it's not the deed of trust because, again, that has to do with mortgages. No. We just learned it's not a special warranty deed. We just learned it's not a quitclaim deed. So, because we are geniuses, we know our answer is D, quitclaim deed. It's D. Oh my gosh, I just had a throwback to a song. I need to write this down. Blue is better. It makes me think that would be a great song for when we get B as an answer. Blue is better. It was a song by Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Anybody else remember that song? It goes, blue, blue is better. Oh, what would we do without blue? I don't know. Could be crazy, but I need to find it. 44. Sorry for that side quest. Which of the following is required for a deed to be legally valid and effective to convey title from grantor to grantee? So one of these is going to be our essential elements of a deed, which you know I teach you as, let's see if we can pull it up. It's loading. If we can find our essential elements of a deed, here they are. They have to be in writing. The grantor must be competent. There has to be property description. There has to be words of conveyance. It needs to be executed, signed by the grantor, and it needs to be delivered and accepted. I get paid with every deal. What it does not have to have, these are nots, is of course a diva can shop with riches. It doesn't have to be acknowledged or dated. It doesn't have to have consideration. It doesn't have to be sealed. It doesn't have to be witnessed. And it doesn't have to be recorded. Those are our essential and non-essential elements of a deed. So, knowing that, which of the following is required for the deed to be legally valid? Recording the deed. No, I get paid with every deal. Does not have an R. That's in our diva gets a diva shops with riches. It ain't that. No, why? B, notarization and witnessing by 2 adult witnesses. No, deeds don't have to be witnessed. Payment of substantial monetary consideration. No, that's a diva can shop with riches. Delivery, of the deed by the grantor and acceptance by the grantee. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner chicken dinner. That is what it is. It is D. That's what we go. Oh, you said Sunday recording helped you a lot with this. Oh, good, Stacy. Yay. I love that. I do need to cut it out so more people can see it. So I will work on that. I will. We'll finish this page and then I'm going to go take care of my mama because she's my mama and I love her. And, you know, she's my mama. And then Sunday, I will be back. You all heard me set my alarm for the right time. So even if I am working on something, I won't be late like I was today. All right. So 45. The clause in a deed begin. Oh, it helps you too, Georgia. Good. Yay. I love that. The clause in a deed beginning with the words to have and to hold from this day forth. That's the words that me and Jason Momoa are going to say to each other. I need to get that's just a lot, but that's okay. To have and to hold, which defines the type and extent of the estate being conveyed, is called the A, granting clause, B, acknowledgement, C, habendum clause, or D, reversion clause. Well, this one could be hard, so let's knock out some stuff here. I know what it's not. I know what it's not. I know it's not acknowledgement because that's notarization. Notarization. I can spell. It's not that. The reversion clause would be something reverting back to something else. We know it's not they. And you're right, Rosalinda, it's not a, because the granting clause is saying, hey, I'm giving you, what I have. It's basically telling you, hey, I'm granting and I'm conveying, not I'm inviting you to a party this weekend. Mm-mm. So our answer, of course, has to be C, habendum clause. And really, the way I remember this is to have and to hold in the habendum clause. I remember the H's. It may be stupid, but that's how I do it. And I see y'all. I see y'all telling me, I see you, Stacy. I see you. What are you telling me I need to play? I know what it is. Y'all gave me the carrot. We like carrots. Crunch, crunch, crunch. If I ever go, oh no, I stopped the share of the pausing of the screen. Let me fix that. Boom. All right, let's resume. Let's see. Can we make it come back? There we go. You all should be able to see it again. But what I was going to say is if I die anytime soon, you all have every right in the world to let my family know. I want you to be able to come to my tomb, press a button, and get the carrot song. Just for moral support and anything you ever need, you can come to my grave and it'll be crunch, crunch, crunch. Oh, and then maybe it'll be the good job song. Maybe you'll get a selection of 3. And then, of course, Monday, Monday, don't jiggle, jiggle. That's what we're going to do. I want to be a source of inspiration for you all, no matter what, even if I'm gone. But I don't plan on dying anytime soon, so that's fine. All right. Last question before I go take care of my mom. I am Candace. Oh, thank you. I'm also a hot, silly mess, and that's okay. I accept my silly messness. I really do. I really and truly do. 46 in honor of my mother, who was actually born in 47. We'll go to 47 for her honor because she was born in 1947. The primary legal purpose of recording a deed in the public land records is to. The primary legal purpose of recording a deed in the public land records is to A, provide constructive notice of the transfer to third parties and establish priority. I like that, but let's see what other options are. B, trigger the buyer's right to take physical possession of the property. No, that's not it. That doesn't, you have the right to take possession when you own it and you got the right of possession, that whole deep sea thing. C, add a legal description to the deed for a first time. No, to be valid, the deed needed a legal description. Or D, make the transfer of title legally valid between the grantor or grantee. Nope. A deed is a deed and is legal even if it's not recorded. We record it so that you get constructive notice and you establish priority. That's why we record a deed. And 47 in honor of my mother and my father's year of birth, because we're old and I'm old. And in a general warranty deed, the covenant in which the grantor guarantees that they actually own the estate being conveyed and have the legal right to convey it is the covenant of A, quiet enjoyment, B, further assurance, C, the covenant against encumbrances, or D, season or season, depending on how you want to say it and spell it. It could be spelled with a Z too. So if you see that on your test, don't freak out like, oh, they're trying to trick me. No, it could be an S or it could be a Z. Well, what we know is that our answer here is going to be D, season. You actually own the property. You actually own the property. So, boom, covenant of season. All right, guys. You were confused about the third party. Which third party? Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, you talking about here in 46? You were to transfer to third parties, provide constructive notice of the transfer to third parties. So if I own the property and I give my property to you, right? Then the third party is everybody else. I'm giving your property. I could just give you this deed and it gives you title. If I give you the deed, it gives you title. And then recording is the announcement to everybody else. And everybody else, that's what we call the third parties. Does that help? Good. Yes, Miss Caroline, email me. I know I have some people come in, tell my mom to have a wonderful evening. Look, she said she has some food for me to cook up. She made some twice baked potatoes. I may be about 50, but you think I'm gonna turn down some free twice baked potatoes? Absolutely not. Have you seen prices in the supermarket? That is why I moved back home, to take care of them, but also for them to take care of me. So again, if you're one of those people who's coming in a little late, I started 7. It's okay if you're late. I was today, but this is all recorded for you, and you're always welcome to watch anytime. On Sunday, we're going to be talking about property ownership. I will see you then, 7 p.m. on Sunday. And, have a good week, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye.